Sick Harrison Price for Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. We're a presentation of Bet365, and we're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealers studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sick Harrison alongside Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson hitting switches and conducting things.
We're a little bundled here. We both
as snow falls in Vancouver in mid-March. I mean, this isn't even early March. This is closer to the Ides of March.
Yesterday's show began with him bragging about his golf game and what fabulous condition
there was no brag. There was no brag about the game. About the conditions at Northland? Yes. Absolutely.
And now we're back to winter. We've slid backwards to winter. And much of the week is going to be kind of like this. It's a weird week. This is a reminder, though, that winter is not done in the mountains at the very least until the end of March.
Does that mean winter is coming?
Winter is still coming. Think about 2010. I remember being on the chairlift up on Grouse like March 15th in 2010. Remember very little snow. And I remember the weight of the snow on the trees in mid-March that year. I thought the trees were going to snap. That's how much snow there was. March. We get snow in March.
Yeah, there have been some years where the snow has really lingered too, right, on the mountains?
Yes. Yeah,
into April and all that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, stay bundled, stay safe out there on the roads. Not yet time to remove those winter tires.
No, mid-April for that, yeah. April 10th or something.
Let's get to the daily poll. You're a month away. I mean, unless you're traveling in the mountains, then it's probably a pretty good idea to keep them on. Time now for the daily poll question. Is Zeev Buium the best young player the Canucks have? You can vote yes, you can vote no. Do so at the Sick Harrison Price X and YouTube channels. And if you're voting no, we're asking you to specify in reply who's better than Buium, who looks quite good last night for the Vancouver Canucks, sadly in defeat for them. First game after shedding the full bubble protection after that facial fracture in January. I saw Tyson Cole of Cole's Notes and Canucks Army say he counted 4 rushes from the D zone to the offensive end and should have drawn a penalty as well. None of them, of course, turned into a goal with the Canucks getting shut out, but scoring chances and some progress for the young defenseman acquired from the Minnesota Wild as one of the key pieces in the Quinn Hughes trade. Played 20 minutes and 5 seconds last night, was a -1, 4 shot attempts, 1 hit, 3 giveaways. And as JPat noted on RinkWide, you're down 1-0 in the third period. The game is right there for the Adam Foote, the game is right there. The Canucks muster 3 shots on goal. 2 of them from Buium.
Yeah, the shot attempts were a little bit higher than that. They couldn't find the net. They had a late power play at 6-on-5. They had a couple of attempts as well. They just couldn't find the goal. And
there'll be some of that here going forward.
Their grade A chances were very few and far between. I thought they worked hard though. I thought their fight was there.
Yep. Yep. And something we should point out, we're going to get into this a little later. Ottawa has been a unicorn this year in terms of their 5-on-5 play, how good it has been defensively, how they control a significant shot share, and yet just giving up goals by the bunches. I mean, Linus Ullmark had a shockingly bad first half before he took leave of the team. And the backup goalie wasn't much better either after he showed signs last year. So it has truly been a case of the Ottawa Senators having their season waylaid by poor goaltending. They have done this to a number of other teams this year, Blake.
Yeah.
Only have given up a few goals on the few shots they do surrender and lose the hockey game or don't get 2 full
Linus
points.
Ullmark has not lost in regulation since he returned to the lineup, though. 6-7 games, I think, since his return. He has not lost in regulation. So it is coming.
How many games, Blake?
6 or 7, yes. I think we're past that, Matt. We can't be bringing that up again. Yeah, I mean, again, they didn't have a whole lot to defend last night.
No.
But they've been keeping the goals down. Only have reached 4 for the opposition twice in the last, long time. Twice since January 18th has the opposition scored 4 goals.
Levi Miralainen, the other goalie there, that name I didn't have immediately. It was Reimer last night.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing on the poll question. I voted yes. And I voted yes because, look, Braden Coots looks fantastic in junior, had an awesome pro camp here, first pro camp with the Canucks, got into a few NHL games. But I want to see a little more professional data on Coots. Ogrim really loved the tools, the size, the speed. I think he's got some pretty good hands too. Yeah, quite interested to see that guy develop because there's a lot to work with there. Tom Willander is a beautiful skater. I don't know if it's a hockey IQ problem or if it's this staff and its system completely messing him up in his first professional year. There's also a question about Tom Willander's offensive ceiling, how much of a point contributor he will be. And Jonathan Lekrimaki, without question, has an NHL shot. But I do think Lekrimaki is going to have to get stronger to be able to reach all of his goal-scoring potential. Not to mention, the Boudreau rule. If you're going to score 40, then I'm not too concerned about you defensively. But if you're going to score 20 to 25, then you do have to show me you can play the other side of the puck. And I do wonder if Lekrimaki is going to be trapped by that a little bit. A guy who has to play in top 6, has to play with skill, and isn't perhaps an all-situations player for you.
I'm going to say...
Or even an all-situations even strength player.
I'm going to say yes, but I'm going to tweak from best to most skilled. Best is hard for young players. They don't have a lot of resume. But most skilled player...
We're asking you to predict a little bit here, though.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm saying in the here and now, he presents as the most skilled of the bunch. I would say Lekrimaki is right there. I'm more bullish on Tom Willander than most. Both of them, by the way, are top 30 in NHL rookie scoring. Both Willander and Buium. Buium 22nd, Willander's 28th. And then amongst defensemen, Buium is 4th amongst rookies. Willander is 6th. And worth noting, Buium right now, underlying stats, he is best is in the eye of the beholder, I think, but he's presenting as the 3rd best defenseman this season for the Canucks. Not right now, this season. That is inclusive of Hughes.
So that's Hughes and Roenick?
And then Buium. We're talking possession stats for Corsi 4%. We're talking expected goals for percentage, which measures your potential on goals for and goals against. That's not bad for a guy who's 20 years of age here. And he's only recently 20. He's a December birthday, for God's sakes.
I'm just going back to my notes from when he was acquired in the Quinn Hughes trade. And I talked to an NHL scout I know, and the names he was bringing up were like Josh Morrissey and Jackson Lacombe on the high end for Buium. Morgan Riley, Cam Fowler, and maybe the middle tier Shane Gostisbehere if things broke poorly and he's just an offensive contributor. So it's going to be interesting to see where he lands on the Morrissey to Fowler or Riley spectrum. Look, if he turns out to be a number 3 defenseman, like a rock-solid second pair offensive contributing defenseman, I think that's a good outcome, but you really hope that he makes it as a top pair defenseman and power play quarterback. I think that's possible. And because I think that's possible, that nudges him a little ahead of Coots for my money, just because I'd be surprised if Coots becomes a 1C in the NHL. I think you're looking at a very good 2C. But again, I don't really want to limit these young men because they have so much runway ahead of them and, of course, so much opportunity to improve. So I don't want to put ceilings on anybody. But if we're talking about probable outcomes, and that's one of the things that scouts do, and that's one of the things that we can project even better and better these days with analytics and all the data that we get, even at junior and collegiate hockey levels. I think that's sort of the territory for Buium, and that makes him the best young player for me. Now, I do have somebody in my mentions going, they're going to need more high-end skill going forward, naturally. You anticipate it's not quite a 50-50 chance, but last place is all but secured. We'll get to that in a bit. Gives you a near 50% chance of picking top two, and I do think you're likely to get a McKenna or a Stenberg here. So I think that accounts for a high-end first-line winger, right?
Or top six winger at the very worst.
Very worst. And then next year, and we're going to get into this as well, if the Canucks are terrible again, and look, I think there's a pretty good chance they will be right back picking high again in the 2027 draft. Well, if it all falls your way, an opportunity to draft Landon DuPont, the Everett defenseman, or an opportunity to draft Alexei Joseph, the St. John big centerman in the Quebec League. There you go. There's perhaps another high-end piece, either to be your number one defenseman or to be your number one centerman.
And we've talked about him already this week. I think in Riley Paterson too is OHL leading scorer. You never know.
Yeah, long way to go. What is he, a fourth-round pick, third-round pick?
Or fourth,
yeah. That would be a mind-blowing outcome if he gets to that sort of level as top six NHL forward.
Other teams get to get these players. Why can't they?
Surrey, a point, right? Tampa's gotten a number of them over the years, so we'll see. Let's hear from Buium, because here's the other thing. Right from the moment he landed here in Vancouver, just shy of Christmas in the Hughes trade, and then more pronounced the more we've gotten a chance to hear from him and know him more. I know he was the absolute star of Dice and Ice, that people couldn't believe how well spoken and how well he presents, and not just all of that, but the quality of his words as well. It sounds like this is very much a pensive young man who understands what the path forward here is going to look like for the Vancouver Canucks, and he was at it again last night after the game saying, got to stay positive. Here's Buium.
It's tough, right? You hate to lose. Everyone hates losing. It's that's the worst feeling. And when you go on skids of losing, it's easy to stay in that negative mindset. And I think the biggest thing is just trying to stay positive through it all. Like you said, enjoy the process, enjoy being together, and understand that we're working towards something. And it might not be an easy road, but that'll make us battle tested and help us in the long run, hopefully. So I think that's the main focus.
And the word in the Canucks room is that since the trades of Tyler Myers and Connor Garland, Kiefer Sherwood and Hughes before that Philip Hronek and Marcus Paterson have picked up the lion's share of the leadership, which you can completely understand. Mm-hmm. We've seen that out of Hronek. They seem to be grooming him to be the next captain. We understood that about Marcus Paterson pretty much the moment he arrived here last year, and was seen, organizing his teammates at the bench and things like that. Now, it's a little tougher to lead when you're having as poor a season as Marcus Paterson is having. And, of course, the elephant in the room there is how is Elias not a leader, but we know.
Yes.
We know that ain't happening. And so the question becomes, which young players are going to step into this breach and be leaders with their teammates? And I think there's a couple of really good candidates in Zeev Buium and Tom Willander, both of whom I think have shown some leadership chops.
Good speakers, good communicators.
Very good communicators.
At their age, it's important. And I'm going to be interested to see how much longer this bump in competitiveness continues here for the Vancouver Canucks, because I do wonder how much of a distraction the transaction season was for them. All these players knowing going before the trade deadline that the team was about to undergo a lot more changes. People were critical, I think, of us after the first couple of games out of the Olympic break, Matt, where they just looked terrible and looked disinterested in being there even, and said, oh, you guys called for a rebuild and you're upset about losses. No, not at all. They've lost 2 of the last 4 games. Zero problem with it. What you expect, though, is to see, developing players develop.
Yes.
Players with leadership qualities lead. And
yes.
you expect bare minimums to be reached. And now in the last 4 games, still only 1 win in those 4 games. Zero problem.
Zero.
Problem.
I don't want to say it's a perfect rebuild loss because you would like to score a goal. You would like to bring some enthusiasm to your home crowd of more than 18,000. So you certainly don't want to get shut out. But a close, hard-fought game, again, I'll go back to JPat's stat. I mean, it's 1-0 in the third. You muster 3 shots. That's got to improve. Mm-hmm. But those are the sorts of losses that one can understand because you see an effort level. You see a care level.
Effort can give you D. Effort doesn't as readily translate into offense. That's often skill-related. Mm-hmm. But at the very least, they've kept the goals down here over the last few games. 3 in overtime, 3 and 2. I mean, that's a lot better than the 6 spots that everybody was hanging on them in and around the Olympic break. So, something has changed. I'm curious to see how much longer this goes, particularly because the competition is not extravagant for the rest of this homestand. They've got the potential to look like a hockey team. Yeah. I don't think they're going to win a ton, but
that Dallas loss a week ago Monday, those are the ones that just can't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the ones where the chute was pulled early. Now, granted, that was pre-trade deadline, and so, maybe the distraction was at hand. But, no, you're quite right, Blake. I mean, Nashville, Seattle, Florida. Is there even a playoff? Is Seattle above the bar right now? I mean,
Seattle is, I believe.
Just barely, yeah. So, yes, I mean, if you're Adam Foote and his staff and you're still interested in winning games, competing for games, Seattle's 1 point above the bar, then yes, those are a little bit more manageable, a little bit more winnable than, say, when Tampa Bay gets here a week from Thursday or Anaheim in a couple of weeks. And yes, 8-game homestand continues Thursday against the Nashville Predators. Let's get to our top story. It's brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. One of the smallest fan bases in the National Hockey League invades Rogers Arena last night, had the Canucks seeing red in a 2-0 shutout win behind an off-the-street goaltender. The Ottawa Senators are 30 years old in their most recent incarnation, not exactly known for having a national fan base that can take over visiting arenas, certainly not in Canada, but loud "Go Sens Go" chants heard at Rogers last night as the team, under our old friend Travis Green, improves to 8-0-2 in its last 10 and continues to hunt down a playoff spot.
Second Buffalo kind of surge here happening for the Ottawa Senators. And you're right. Throughout my travels, anecdotally, throughout the streets of Vancouver, I regularly bump into Oilers fans and Leafs fans and Habs fans.
Jets fans.
And even Jets fans. Yeah. Maybe I seek those ones out.
Well, you got a lot of cross-pollination with Alberta and Manitoba to a lesser degree. And then, of course,
the big
Leafs and Habs goes back to two solitudes, right? When you either were red or you were blue in this country.
I've never crossed paths with the Senators.
Oh, very few, yeah. I mean, I do only because I grew up there and I know friends who now live here, but no. Here's Ian Mendez from Richmond, BC, who's the Senators' VP of Community Relations. And he tweeted, "I don't think I've ever heard a Sens chant this loud on the road. Some amazing support on this road trip from Sens fans who really showed up in Western Canada. I had some of my friends in the media in that town asking me this morning, what was with all the Senators fans there? Now, we know that tickets are cheap, right? We know the resale market. You can get in and see an NHL hockey game for a fraction of what it cost you when the Canucks were in their big sellout streak. Now, there's some talk online that Canucks are now marketing to away fans or encouraging season ticket holders. If you don't want your tickets, sell them to away fans, visiting team fans. I don't know if they have the ability to micro-target. Like, is there Cambridge Analytica going on over at Canucks Sports and Entertainment where you are able to target people in your whereabouts who you know have allegiance to the Ottawa Senators, as the case is last night? But attendance was announced at 18,228, so the Canucks play before just a few hundred unpaid, if not empty seats, despite being historically bad at home. Mike, you were at the game last night.
Sure was.
A thought or two. What were your observations about the crowd and the number of visiting fans?
There was a lot. And honestly, the vibe was the best I've seen in a long, long time, and it's probably because they weren't Canucks fans. But overall, it was good. And honestly, man, the team, they were fun to watch, even though they didn't score.
Yeah.
Well, they skated back and forth quite fast. They just didn't get into dangerous enough areas right in front of the goal. But there were some rushes happening, just kind of fizzled out early.
And look, we know the once-a-year visits from the Habs and Leafs bring out their supporters. Sometimes Winnipeg only plays here once a year as well, and they certainly come out. The Oilers fans are incredible. I mean, there's just so many of them here now, and obviously with the great players they have, they make a point of going to Rogers Arena. And I think if Calgary ever got good, we'd see the same there as well, right? A lot of red in the arena. So
the Sens are having a hell of a run here.
I'm very happy for Travis because at the beginning of the year and, messaging, he was doing everything right at the beginning of the year, Blake. Mm-hmm. Like, they were playing a very structured, detailed game night to night and just couldn't get a save. And, as a head coach, you have to wear the record even when oftentimes you're doing everything in your power and you've got one guy, the goaltender, letting you down.
Of the two wildcard teams and the two first immediate chase teams, the worst team in that group over the last 10 are the Boston Bruins with 2 losses, 5-2-3. That's the worst performing team. Those are 4 of the best teams in the league right now.
Quite a derby going on there.
7-1-2 are the Senators, 6-1-3 are the Jackets, 5-2-3 is the Bruins, and the Canadians are 6-1-3. So it's a pretty interesting wild card race there in the East.
Yes, it is. And Washington sort of punted out of it as well. So, because they were in there as well. Visiting teams are 25-5-1 at Rogers Arena this
Guaranteed
season.
Win night. Oh my God!
The Canucks are 6-20-5. They're playing .274 hockey on home ice. If they kept that up through the end of the season, it would be the worst home ice record in 30 years. Rob Williams has done the math there. Anaheim a number of years ago played some truly dreadful hockey.
The Rangers are asking the Canucks to hold their beer, but they're in the chase position right now. The Rangers only have 8 wins themselves. I mean, these are 2 dreadful home ice teams. Historically dreadful.
As mentioned, the Senators didn't surrender many chances. When they did, 37-year-old James Reimer was there to slam the door. He gets the shutout. A lovely comeback story there from a individual I know a lot of people have affection towards, James Reimer.
Others, not so much. He's a divisive player in that regard.
Fair.
Yes.
But, I mean, he was skating with junior teams in Kelowna earlier this year, just trying to stay sharp. He gets rescued by an organization that was desperate for goaltending. Stopped just 16 shots, but there you go. It's a shutout. And I like what Lachlan Irvin said at Canucks Army. Rebuild or not, getting shut out by the 25-26 Ottawa Senators goalie has got to be a bitter pill to swallow. Yes. Wasn't Dominic Hasek or Patrick Waugh in that net. It was James Reimer.
Yeah, an aging who's not. He
didn't get a lot of.
I mean, he hasn't played a lot of hockey this year, and maybe that's the benefit there as an older goaltender. Just the Spengler Cup until he gets signed by the Senators, and he ends up being a pretty capable backup right now.
Farhan Lalji reports that he spoke with Travis Green post-game, and one thing was abundantly clear. He loves the way his skaters have been playing all season, their total buy-in, their willingness to be coached, their complete lack of egos. Oh, Blake. Their willingness to be coached, their buy-in, their lack of egos. Is there some subtle shade at Mr. Paterson in those comments? Of course, Travis, big buddies with Rick Tocchet. I'm sure they compared notes and frustrations on trying to reach number 40.
I think it's a number of things. It could be that. It could be a more wide dunk on the Canucks of, these guys got me a bunch of players that can be coached versus you guys.
Or at all the divisions and
yes,
in the Canucks room over the years. Yeah.
But but at the very least, Matt, it's also just pumping of his own tires. Mm-hmm. I've got players listening to me right now.
Well, he's got a right to. I mean, Linus Karlsson was noticeable again. A little snow shower on Reimer, too. Can you imagine if he had some pest to his game? Is that the next increase? Is that the next step for Linus Karlsson?
He's not a small boy. So.
He's not a small boy, and he doesn't have the raw tools, I think, that are going to make him a pronounced scorer. But 20 goals with some pest in his game?
No, I was
some shift disturber.
Very hopeful that he would develop into this kind of a player, and this was really the best case scenario. I think of all the possibilities for Linus Karlsson, this is the best case scenario. He's got the 2-year deal now. He's got to live up to it.
Yep.
And that's the good news too, is that he knows that if he performs well over the course of that, there could be one, not big money, but decent money contract. Like if he can put together 18 to 21 goals over the course of those 2 years, he's going to get paid.
For sure.
He's going to get paid.
For sure. And he's got some chemistry with Petey. We'll get to that. Here's the other thing. At 5 minutes and 3 seconds of power play time, Canucks don't get a single shot on goal on the power play.
Yeah.
And that's against the 30th ranked PK in the league. Canucks are now 26th in net power play percentage at 15.1%, 23rd in normal power play at 18.2%. And one of the things that I think we need to we started talking about it yesterday, who's going to run your power play going forward? Filip Hronek might be your best guy right now, but is giving him the lion's share of opportunity now, limiting the development of Buium or Willander. And then we're not going to ask Filip to do that because we're going to ask him to play the tough matchups in the 5-on-5 minutes in PK. Then you're left with the question, Buium or Willander, who do you want running your power play? I mean, for me, it's Buium, but they have been inclined to give Willander opportunities there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can go in fits and starts with that. I think you can give one guy the mantle and take turns and go to the. I think it's interesting to see what both of them look like. The truth of the matter is, you know what you've got in Filip Hronek. When you're more relevant as a team, he can become a more permanent option when you need to win games. But right now, you need to know what you've got with the other guys, and it's not like Hronek can get too upset about it. He doesn't need to set any personal highs. He's got a long-term contract. He doesn't need to beef up his numbers for a new deal. So I think you try to do-si-do Buium and Willander, and hot hand stays with the job. I think it's more naturally going to be to Buium. But I'm not going to write. I've always
one thing
said,
I'll say: one's a left shot, one's a right shot. So you have to account for that, right?
With what you have, as your forwards.
That might be a little more complicated than a coach, either this coach or subsequent coaches want it to be.
It would also be very helpful for said point guys if they had a winger, maybe a guy on the right side that could shoot and score on the man advantage. A focal point to the power play. Right now, what are you trying to do if you're the Vancouver Canucks? Because you can say they're trying to get it to Paterson, but it doesn't happen. So what are you trying to do?
Honestly, Blake, with his hesitation to shoot the puck and the lack of confidence shooting the puck, I think you're almost better off just getting the puck to the net and seeing if you can get a greasy one.
That seems to be the goal. A lot of long shots from outside.
Well,
hoping to bang one in. Hoping to get a tip.
But Blake, he hasn't been that he scores guys from that spot in 2 years.
Yep.
So how much longer are you going to try that before you just say, you know what, that's not our best avenue?
No, until you start to see it on a more regular basis of 5-on-5, I think it's folly to expect it to occur on the power play.
I think that's probably right. Poor Kevin Lankinen. He stops 23 of 24 pucks and boost that save percentage, and God knows that needed it. But he's now dropped 8 straight decisions, 7 of them in regulation. 1-11-2 in his last 14 decisions, Blake. Because last night, Kevin Lankinen was part of the solution. And it just didn't happen. 7-21-5 on the season. Blake's been watching this. Thatcher Tempo continues to lead them in goaltending wins with 8. Lankinen has blown 8 straight opportunities here to move into a tie. The goals against is .365. The save percentage is up to .877. So it hasn't been a great year for Lankinen, but last night he deserved better.
So if there's 18 games left and they do split the starts,
he'll get there. He'll get there, I think. He'll certainly get one more win. I think he'll get 2.
I feel a little bad for him because a casual,
as you say, the schedule's not murderer's row here.
If an opposition fan is looking at this and wondering, who's their best goaltender, if you just skimmed across these stats as a non-Canuck fan, you'd be like, oh my God, the Canucks are bordering on being a 500 team if they had better goaltending. It just looks like it's Lankinen's fault. Mm-hmm. Because Demko's only 2 games below 500. Demko's 8-10-1. Nikita Tolopilo is almost 500 right now, 4-5-2. And then there's Lankinen. It's 7-21-5, as you said.
6'9" Curtis Douglas gets the opening shift, plays .652 in his Vancouver Canucks debut, and throws 4 hits. Here's Coach Adam Foote talking about the new guy post-game.
Well, he did his job, and coming in. He likes, obviously, you saw it. He likes the forecheck. He's disciplined in his shift length. As coming to a new team, and he's played. Tampa played, or neutral zone played pretty much the same system. It's a little bit different, but not much. But he's good in structure, and he gives you that. He's coming down on you. It's definitely a fear factor out there, and they're aware of it. And it's I thought he did good.
It's a worthwhile project, given where the Canucks are at.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic about the project, but sure, you can see what you've got there. But skating was not a Mona Lisa.
Well,
it makes Nikita Triamkin look like Bobby Orr.
As somebody who is 6'4", when you're this tall, the skating in the center of bounds, it's way down there, Blake. It's a 1/4-inch blade of steel.
Okay, but
I assure you, it gets more and more difficult the further up into the.
But Zadorov and Myers put that theory.
Zadorov and Myers were pretty good skaters for their size, but that is the one thing that when these jumbo hockey players show up, is people wonder, okay, how do they skate? Well, he doesn't skate all that well. Because guess what? If he did skate that well at 6'9", he would have been a top 5 pick.
There's the 7-footer in the OHL.
That's right.
Oh,
and last place is all but secured here, everyone, with 18 games to go. As JPat notes, at the Olympic break, the Canucks were 42 points. St. Louis was 7 back, and the Rangers were 8 back. Canucks are now at 46 points. Calgary's 57, Rangers 58. So the gap has grown from 7 to 11 in, a couple of weeks. Not even 3 weeks since we've been back from the Olympics. So do you have any worries of the Canucks, quote unquote, catching someone here?
No. No, I don't.
They
really.
Still have a head-to-head left with Calgary, but
and they've got here's the safety net if they do go on a run, and there's no signs that they will right now.
The April schedule.
The April schedule is not kind.
No, it's not. No, it is most definitely not.
It's either playoff or playoff contending teams throughout those 9 games that are in April.
Yep. You've got Colorado and Minnesota. You're at both places on a back-to-back. You're home to a Utah team that's pushing into the playoffs. Vegas and the Kings are the other home games. Kings might be out of it by then. And then you're at LA. You got a California trip, and you close at Edmonton. So, no. I can't imagine there'll be a lot of winning in April.
Kings are only 1 point back, though. They could stick around.
Awful. They're just awful.
Someone in the chat actually worked it out here. If all teams keep going at their current winning percentages, Canucks need to go 14-3 to come out of last.
Right.
To come out of last.
Yeah. Not a chance. Do you see them getting 14 in the next 17?
Here's my over-under. Here's my little drama. Can they mathematically clinch 32nd in the month of March?
Oh, boy. It's with 18 points on the table in April.
Hey.
So you'd have to be 19 points.
Don't tell them they can't do it, Matt. Don't tell them they can't do it.
I'm not sure. I had a yellow dog at the bar yesterday watching the footy. It was delicious.
Do you remember which one it was?
Yeah, it was the golden retriever.
Oh, very nice. I'm going to throw something different at you. You know what? I'll stay with the beer because you're on the beer theme. 3, count them, 3 beers on sale in the month of March. Yellow Dog, Chase My Tail. Yellow Dog, Play Dead IPA. Yellow Dog, Squirrel Chaser, Hazy. All on special. Look for it on sale at your private and government liquor stores.
Adam Foote said post-game that Evander Kane's been playing through an upper body issue that forced him out of the lineup last night. There was no timeline given for his return. Foote said they were hoping to get the condition to settle down. Of course, Kane was a scratch in that final game before the trade deadline last week, hoping to be dealt. His agent was out there on the market looking for a fit. Didn't come to pass. He did play on the weekend, but not last night. He's 9 games away from 1,000 in the National Hockey League.
As our friend Corey Hergott said back on March the 6th, Kane is going to come down with a mystery illness, season/season-ending injury after not being traded.
Yeah, I can understand his disappointment. But I will say, make sure you get to 1,000 games, and there are worse places for it to happen than in your hometown of Vancouver, Evander. I realize you're not a beloved Canuck. This hasn't worked out for you this year. It hasn't worked out for the team either, and don't want to be here. Would preferably be on a team that's competing to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs and getting to play in the spring again.
Well, here are the 2 options. Either he's not injured, and you're thinking, okay, well, then what's going on? Or he is injured, Matt. And he has been fighting something.
Yeah,
to which point, why are you going to play as half the player that you are
exactly
when you're trying to win people's regard for next season? He wants to play next season, not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And right now, he was not. Nobody wanted to trade for him, even at a pretty discounted price with tons of cap space available. And remember, he was only on 4, even in terms of money out, he was only on $4 million this season. So you wouldn't have had to pay him physically that much money. He may be better off just making sure he's 1,000% healthy and not playing much here.
Yeah.
I think it might be tough to get to 1,000.
He may be in PTO territory, though, for next year, Blake.
Yes.
I'm not sure it's 100% guaranteed that he's an NHL player next year.
I think that's fair.
Connor Garland scores twice in his Columbus Blue Jacket debut, which is the same number of goals he had for the Vancouver Canucks over his final 31 games here. Tell me you didn't quit on the Canucks with that. Hadn't scored since December 16th, but that was an empty netter. You got to go back 31 games to find him actually scoring on a goaltender.
Humans provide a pretty big impediment to scoring goals.
And Sapster has done some of the math here. Elias Paterson and Linus Karlsson over their last 35 games, 89 minutes together, 280 without Connor Garland. Numbers look pretty good there. Expected goals for, high danger chances. With Garland, look at the numbers plummet, Blake. 35% expected goals for, 35% scoring chances for, less than a 30% of the high danger chances for. With those 3 together. Now, you were telling me, though, that the analytics still paints Garland as the best option there.
Yeah, Big Head Hockey had put that out, that basically of the top 5 wingers used with Elias Pettersson, he was actually the best option in terms of shooting percentage at 18.8, and in terms of goals scored above expected, he was at .71. DeBrusk and Kane were black holes.
Yes. The DeBrusk thing doesn't work.
4.8% shooting for DeBrusk, 5.8 for Evander Kane. He told it all up, Big Head did. 11 goals on 88 grade A scoring chances for all wingers with Elias Paterson. 11 goals on 137 shots.
So for those of you who are making the case that Elias is being dragged down by wingers here, that is true. We have talked about this all season long. It's not just Elias, it's the surrounding wingers. Others say if you're making 11.6, you should make others better. That case is legit as well.
But he's not getting selfish in shooting either. So, there is criticism to go around. But it's pretty startling. It's startling because Brock Besser's on this list, and he's at 11.1 shooting, which isn't terrible. But he's still he's in the negatives for goals scored above expected. Yeah. There are capable players.
Hear me out. Okay, so there's some chemistry with Linus Karlsson. We know him and Höglander are buddies. Höglander's been better here of late. Just put him with the two younger Swedes and see if that gets anything out of him.
Yeah. I mean,
see if that gets him any kind of joy playing with his countrymen, playing with a couple of guys he can quote-unquote mentor. Remember Boudreaux saying to us years ago, he likes to play with his buddies. So there you go. Just put him with his buddies, see if that can ignite him. You got 18 games left here to hopefully rebuild some value in the player or some confidence, both the player himself, your organization in him, and, of course, the fans in him.
I don't know why they keep forcing this DeBrusque thing.
No, stop forcing the DeBrusque thing. Dollywall reports that nobody he talks to believes they were without offer for Teddy Blucher. I'm not sure we've discussed this yet. Do you think they were worried about fan reaction if it was only like a fifth for Teddy Blucher and just decided, we don't want to do that. We don't want to be taken advantage of. We got to draw the line, as I believe it was Darren Dreger who was saying that yesterday, right?
I mean, yeah, that's possible. But it's not valid. I do not accept.
Because I do think rival general managers were certainly not coming with best offers, and we're basically trying to see how desperate the Canucks are. And so I can understand from a managerial go-forward point of view how Rutherford and Alvin, perhaps in concert with the owner, went, okay, look, the rest of the league has us for fools, has us for desperate. We need to draw some lines and let the rest of the league know that once we get to May and June, we start talking off-season trading, we're not going to be an easy mark here, and that we do have some standards in terms of baseline return we're expecting.
I spread my criticism, though, almost evenly. I don't think NHL general managers did their work on Teddy Blucher.
They just viewed him as Vegas's fifth-line center from their cup year.
Maybe, but look at what he did at the Olympics. Look what he's done with the Canucks this year. Yep. You didn't want to pay a fourth-round pick.
Well, there was word that Pittsburgh wanted him. And of course, Sidney's battling the injury, and he played in Pittsburgh. And you're going to get testimony from Sid and Malkin and the guys who were there when Teddy's first bid.
It's a fourth-round pick. There was an NHL team that could use this guy.
Yazoo.
It makes no sense.
But they still didn't make the deal. I mean, the other thing is that they just view him as such a culture carrier, and they're going to re-sign him here shortly, which I do anticipate will happen.
Yeah.
Gavin McKenna, he had a goal, he had an assist, and 8 shots in a pair of weekend games versus the University of Wisconsin on the weekend. Penn State plays Minnesota tomorrow in the opener of the Big Ten Conference Tournament, rocking a 10th, ranking number 10 in the nation right now. And here's one of the McKenna player cards, and just look at this for a second. Now, okay, he's got some work to do in terms of puck battles and his shot. He's not a physical player. Anybody who's seen him will tell you that. But, look at some of these numbers on the play driving, huh? The passing, the puck touches, the slot passes, the transition, carrying the puck, zone entry, zone exits. That is a exciting player on paper. He's exciting to the eyes as well in real life. And Cam Robinson notes that he has waived his preliminary hearing that was set for tomorrow morning. There will be a formal arraignment on those misdemeanor charges for him punching out that heckler of his mother.
Yeah,
which, again, a lot of NHL scouts are like, no, that's a check mark. Way to go, kid. You defended your mom.
Well, especially in contrast to the puck battle and hits numbers that you saw there that were the only ones in the red. And puck battle, I don't love that one. It's one I don't care about the hit one so much, but the puck battle, I think if I was
that's got to be better because Stenberg he battles him for the puck.
If I'm in Gavin McKenna's circle of trust, I might put that and say, fight, man, let's go.
Yep, because that's the one thing that the kid you're compared with does.
Yeah.
Stenberg seeks and delivers contact, and not a big man. He plays through it. He is in the fight. He is not a perimeter player, Stenberg, in the least. And then there's Landon DuPont. And goodness gracious, those who track prospects in junior hockey are getting more and more excited by this young man by the week. This is the 16-year-old. He does not turn 17 until May, late May at that. Out of Calgary, Everett Silvertips right shot defenseman with 17 goals and 63 points in 57 games. And that is with a concerted effort to defend better this year. Cam Robinson had told us earlier in the season that one of the things that DuPont made a point of this season was, I'm going to show all these Canadian World Junior Hockey Canada guys and the NHL draft scouts that I am not just a high-flying, smooth-skating offensive driver from the blue line, but I can defend as well. I mean, he's already matching totals from last year with a lot of games to play. Well, not a lot, but in a handful of games to play here. He is very, very attractive right now, the presumptive first overall pick in the 2027 draft, and we do believe the Canucks are going to have a shot at him next year. I suspect they will be a lottery team next year. It's also college free agents.
Just a sec on DuPont. Okay. He's because he's so young, it presents an interesting thought when he is a rookie here, Matt. He'll be so young as a rookie in the NHL. Like, if he goes to, if nobody from the back of the...
He'll be 18 and a half, not even.
If a team, as long as a team in the middle of the mushy middle doesn't win the lottery against all odds, like, as long as it's one of the worst teams in the league, like...
You can only go up 10 places now. So.
Yeah. But as long as it's one of the 3 worst teams in the league, let's say, like, do you desperately need, like, will the Canucks desperately need DuPont? Is he better served?
No.
One more year somewhere else?
No. You play him in the NHL immediately. I think he's an NHL player now at 16.
Really?
Well, and also the owner's going to want to sell tickets.
That's true, too.
It's college free agent season. Now, opinions will vary here. Our buddy Cam Robinson, he's highlighting TJ Hughes, the Michigan center. Many will say that Tyson Gross of St. Cloud State is the best college free agent this year. He's a right shot center, 6'3", 195 pounds, 23 years old. Grew up in Calgary, and Eric Francis on the Flames Regional yesterday saying that Gross is on the Flames are on Gross's short list. St. Cloud is done playing hockey now, so he is free to sign with someone. We'll see if the Canucks can get in that mix. He was Corey Pronman's top college free agent, if I'm not mistaken, on the Athletic.
Just got named to the all-NCHC first team as well.
Yeah. Canucks did get involved here, college free agent. They signed forward Austin Brimmer to an AHL contract. Brimmer is 24 years old, good size at 6'3", 205, a right shooter himself out of RIT. He played at Long Island University before that. Unusual route for a Toronto boy. He played OJHL, Junior A hockey in Ontario, then to the NAHL.
Won a title there, yeah.
With the Shreveport
Mudbugs. Yeah.
Then smaller college hockey. LIU is Division I college hockey, but only for the last few years. It's the only Division I college hockey team in the New York City metropolitan area. And they transferred to RIT.
Now, Matt.
And, of course, the last time the Canucks got an RIT player, it turned out pretty well in Chris Tanev, right?
Right shot defensemen don't jump from RIT to the NHL. Oh, wait.
They do so, and they're so cool, they go into the corner with a cigarette in their mouth. You remember the great Kevin Bieksa
He was 21 at the time. Was Tanev. Tanev was 21 when he made that jump so effortlessly. Austin Brimmer's 24.
And Blake, not from a height standpoint, because Chris was tall enough and lanky enough. And I've seen, the 5'5", 5'6", 5'7s. but categorically the most underdeveloped NHL player I think I've ever laid eyes on. When you went into the dressing room that year in Tanev's rookie year, he looked nothing like the rest of the guys.
No, he looked like
Just
he had
total
delivered the food.
Exactly. Like, who's the 160-pound beanpole who's in the corner there? He plays defense for you?
Well, he was
unbelievable.
Even at that point, even for the first time you saw him in the Canucks room, he was 2 years removed from being a Markham Waxer and a member of the Stouffville Spirit and the Durham Fury. Bounced around there in 07-08, he did. And then in 2010, he's a Canuck.
Yes.
A Vancouver Canuck, because Manitoba Moose is the...
Yeah. And it was Dave Gagne, right? He had played with Sam in Toronto. Dave Gagne was part of the Canuck staff at the time. And he said, guys, just take a look at this right shot defenseman my kid played with. He's at RIT. Okay.
He scored 1 goal this season. Go sign him.
That's the other thing. There was no shot. We talk about Quinn having a muffin when he showed up here. Tanev had a ways to go to get to Quinn's muffin when he showed up.
Yeah.
Anyways, quite a legend in Canucks lore. Okay, we got a super chat from yesterday. Those of you on YouTube, that super chat button always available to you. Hit it, make your donation. Half proceeds to the BC Mental Health Foundation. We'll make sure to get it on the show. This comes from Sasha Malecki. Even if we draft 50 McKennas, it's telling that it's this team that consistently has had the toxicity, locker room, and bad culture issues since the 90s. Something needs to desperately change. I wouldn't argue that. Like, there was a good run there with the Twins. Locker room was not a problem in those days.
No, and
they had adults. Marcus could be a little snippy as captain, but I think it was a reasonable room in those days as well. Of course, you had an older Trevor Linden who was...
Todd was the most snippy of that group, but Marcus was fine. Dealt with him on a nightly basis. He was quiet at times, but he was never snippy.
Towards the end, he was a little snippy, but I was there as last year a captain. He could be a little snippy. Let's get to our menu. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta. It's a fantastic spot for your next event, family reunion, office party, team party. They have the private riser in the back, surrounded by screens, surrounded by the awesome arcade, game for everyone. Very approachable menu of street food. Try the tacos, absolutely delicious. If you're looking for more information, go to gretabar.com or to book your event. Greta, 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. We are going to talk to JPat here. Took in the game last night. We'll talk to him, not about the game, but about some of the Canucks issues now going forward out of the deadline. And then Surrey's Jeevan Badwal turns 20 years old tomorrow. Has been one of the awesome stories in this early Whitecaps season, which is, again, an awesome story in and of itself. The Caps are undefeated over 5 games, 4 of them victories. Bodwall has found himself as a starter, even in Thomas Müller's position where he was unfamiliar. And Vancouver plays host to Seattle Thursday in the first leg of the second round CONCACAF Champions Cup. So a good Cascadia derby there, and I anticipate Jeevan will feature again, as he has in this early Caps season. He looks like the latest Whitecap to have made significant personal improvements in his own game. We saw a ton of that last year with Sebastian Berhalter and others. It's one of the reasons why it drove the Caps to being the best team in the Western Conference and the runner-up in MLS. It's happening again, and good on them. That is quite an operation they've got going.
And it's a good tonic for all the disappointment on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. Later in the program, the Seahawks in free agency, Canada at the World Baseball Classic, and Canadians doing pretty well on the tennis scene as well. We'll get into all that. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. Did not get a goal from Liam Ogren last night, so I was a loser. How did you make out?
I did a future loss yesterday.
That's right.
So not relevant right now. But I'll start with that World Baseball Classic game. Canada, Puerto Rico. It's in Puerto Rico. Apparently it's been crazy town, USA. It's going to be tough sledding. I think the Canadians might need some help. So I'm going to take the Canadians plus 1.5 on the run line.
Yes. And Canada has already used its top starting pitchers.
Yes.
The Buffalo Sabres, coming off that 8-7 fight-filled game win versus Tampa on Sunday, you have to think a bit of an emotional letdown facing the San Jose Sharks after a clash atop the Eastern Conference, right? That's what was at stake Sunday, as much as anything else. Buffalo putting Tampa on notice that, no, we're playing for first place in this division, in this conference. We know the Sharks can score, and we know the Sabres give some up. And I like the value here on a Sharks team that's more desperate when it comes to the playoffs than Buffalo is at this moment. Give me San Jose. Good value, plus 165 to win the game in Buffalo tonight. The segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Jeff Paterson coming up next. It's Harrison Price from the Historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio.
And this segment brought to you by Pizza. God, this every single week, it kills me because I'm always hungry, and then I have to start talking about pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And the Volcano Dipper. It's perfection. It's innovation.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time there was pizza innovation, folks?
That's right.
The Volcano Dipper is that. Rip and dip the slice into a molten volcano-shaped center.
Play with your food. You have full license.
Famous creamy garlic sauce is inside. The perfect app for creamy garlic lovers. Go check it out right now. The Volcano Dipper is at Pizza.
Here's Jeff Paterson, our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver. They were at it again last night following a 2-0 loss to the Ottawa Senators at Rogers Arena. Hello, Jeff.
Hi, guys. I think we have reached peak Canuck for this 2025-26 season because this was the start of an 8-game homestand last night against Ottawa. And, of course, they had an earlier 8-game homestand in January. Both of them, their two longest homestands of the season, have opened with shutout losses on home ice. It just says everything you need to know about this hockey club rolled up into one ball, can't score, don't win at home, and talk about setting the tone for things to come. Well, there are 7 games left on this homestand now, and we'll see if they can score a goal and somehow eke out a victory somewhere along the line.
We're almost, was it the Harry Neal line?
Yeah.
We don't win at home. We don't win on the road. My failure as a coach is I can't find another place for us to play. And Jeff, like, we've become accustomed to Habs, Leafs, Oilers, and even Jets. And frankly, if Calgary was better, I think we'd see more of it as well. I cannot remember Ottawa Senators fans being that loud at Rogers Arena in the past. There were a lot of visiting fans there last night from, let's face it, a team that's hardly got a national fan base in comparison to some of the other Canadian clubs.
Right. Aren't they the sickos? Isn't that what they call them? Like, how are you an Ottawa Senator fan this far from the nation's capital? But let me say, Travis Green's got his team playing some really good hockey. I mean, they've got one outright loss in their last dozen games. If they had any semblance of goaltending in the first half of the season, absolutely they'd be residing above the playoff bar. As it stands, they may still get there. And they felt that they could throw an aging backup at the Vancouver Canucks, and he shut them out. I mean, James Reimer was skating with BC Hockey League teams in Kelowna. not that long ago when he was out of work, and then he steps onto the ice at Rogers Arena and isn't forced to work particularly hard, just 16 shots by the Vancouver Canucks, but that's what the Senators do. It's incredible how they suppress shots. I think that's 10 times in the last dozen games that they have held their opponents to 23 shots or fewer. The Canucks didn't get anywhere close to that. And I think we're all past, any one individual game meaning a whole lot to the Vancouver Canucks at this stage, and ultimately they get a loss. And so for a lot of people, that is the desired result. But when you're down 1-0 going to the third period, again, the start of a homestand, you want to show your fan base that there's a little bit of fight in you. And they have 3 shots on goal in the third period, and 2 of them came from a defenseman. So one forward was able to manage a shot on goal in the third period of what was then a 1-0 hockey game. Credit to the Senators. I love the way that they support the puck at both ends of the ice. One thing the Canucks have done well, or reasonably well, this is forecheck and play down low below the hash marks. You've heard Adam Foote refer to that an awful lot. They get in, they turn pucks over, and then they're able to create some offense. Well, last night, the Senators forwards came back, support the defenseman, provide an outlet, and one quick pass and away they went. And the Canucks just really couldn't establish any sort of forecheck. So even without Jake Sanderson, their best defenseman, I thought the Senators, usually they score more goals. Last night they had to grind a little bit, and they were fortunate. Let's be honest. I think Adam Foote was well within his right to challenge the Ottawa goal, the 1-0 goal. Shane Pinto's not trying to pass the puck to Ridley Gregg. He's trying to protect his face, but it hits his glove. And how many times have we seen pass off a glove, or even just hitting a glove and going to a teammate, and the play is whistled dead? And so I did think that the Canucks got hosed in that on that call last night.
Yeah, and more reason to question this coaching staff and its decisions and judgments. We talked about this in the opening block, Jeff, and Travis Green, or you dealt with him more face-to-face than us, but the tweet that Farhan had about talking to Travis Green, and he loves the way his skaters have been playing, also their total buy-in, their willingness to be coached, their complete lack of egos. Is there any chance there is some subtle shade there being fired to some of his former charges in the Vancouver Canucks, or in Vancouver Canucks sweaters to this date? What do you think?
Subtle shade in that tweet from Farhan? Come on. That guy, he is
from
the
Travis.
agenda. Yeah, but he's just carrying Travis's water. Farhan's, I don't know. Look, the Canucks are 4 coaches removed from Travis Green. He's in a better spot right now. If he is messaging his former employers, I would think he's got more important things to worry about. I know you love to get wrapped up in all that kind of stuff, Matt. I'm not prepared to really play that game so much with you today. Farhan posted a tweet. I guess he felt that it was worth posting. I don't know. I'm just not getting too wrapped up in what the coach 4 years ago here had to say. The roster's basically been completely turned over. And, again, if he harbors grudges.
Except for one notable. We've heard he's been difficult to coach for some time. So I just thought I would ask the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the messaging there ultimately is.
Multi-goal losses were the norm coming out of the Olympic break and before the Olympic break, though. And, I guess, this is one of those as well after the empty netter. But I'll say this, Jeff. They've tried the last 3 games. If we were ready to ridicule Adam Foote for just looking completely out of his depth and not getting any sort of buy-in from the players, there's been better buy-in since the trade deadline. I don't know why and what it signifies going forward, but they're trying now, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, the Chicago game, they spread the offense around. They benefited from the fact they got a bounce that Spencer Knight was ill and Arvid Soderblom wasn't very good, but whatever. That's the Blackhawks had to go with their backup goaltender that night, and the Canucks pounced on it. And then it was always going to be tough turning around, quick turnaround into Winnipeg. I like the fact that they had a couple of leads there. Didn't love that they didn't push to extend. I think they tried once they got it to 2-1 early in the third period, thinking maybe they would be able to, on the back end of back-to-backs, just milk it across the finish line. And the Jets obviously got the goals that they needed. But yeah, the Canucks were competitive, to say the very least. Again, last night, I don't know how long they would have had to play before they were going to score a goal. They were not dangerous. And so defensively, yeah, I mean, I think they showed some resistance against the Senators, but again, 16 shots on home ice, especially when you have the benefit of 3 power plays, you got to do more. And the power play to me is like, yes, they're rebuilding, and yes, we're watching the young players, but there are points in games when you get a power play and you put your best 5 players on the ice. This is the NHL. These are all established guys. Philip Hronek manning the point, so it's not like they've even got one of the young guys on defense. These are in theory, your 5 best players, and needed to see something more. I mean,
they couldn't get possession. They couldn't even get set up, Jeff.
Right, and that, gaining the zone was an issue, and when they did nothing with it. And I mean, how many times 64 games in here I've been on with you after almost every single one of them, and usually EP40 is a talking point. And again, it was a ridiculously quiet night for him. It's 18 games now without a goal. Like, at some point, you just think that the frustration would get to him, and maybe there'd be a rage game. But we all keep waiting to see sort of any sort of uptick in just the overall effort level and performance. It just seems the same from him, from Brock Besser. Jake DeBrusk was awfully quiet last night. Still waiting to see something, anything from Marco Rossi, guys. And I don't know if the season is just a wash given the injuries and the trade and adjusting to the situation here in Vancouver, but a 60-point season on his resume, there has to be more there. And yet I'm waiting to see a flash of anything offensively from this guy. So lump him in there. He was part of that power play group as well. And across the board, if you're not getting much from any of those guys, it's going to be a difficult night to produce offensively, and proof is in the pudding.
You can make the argument the oldest forward and the youngest youngest player were the best. Like Zeev Buium and Teddy Bluger were probably the most notable skaters last night. And it doesn't say a lot about the guys that are in between, but let's focus on Buium.
Yes.
There's been some shiftiness in almost every game, but there's a little more purpose to his movements last night. It's still gameplay issues and a lot of giveaways, but something to hold on to for Canucks fans coming out of that one.
Yeah, and a couple of weeks ago, Adam Foote was asking about EP40 and where's the zip. I think Zeev found it. Zeev had the zip last night. He was skating well, lugging the puck, one-man breakout. There was the one that and Prime focused on it. Again, the Canucks didn't give the broadcasters a lot to work with, but first period breakout, took the puck from behind his own net, skates past a couple of Sens, gains the offensive zone, and then I thought I think it was Tyler Clevin that kind of clipped him, and Elias Paterson had been called for basically the same penalty earlier in the hockey game. I thought Zeev deserved a call there. So listening to him post-game, I had to stop myself and remind myself he's only 20. He's eloquent, good head on his shoulders. Talked last night about the challenge of trying to stay positive through all of this losing, and it has to be a challenge for all of these guys, and certainly the young ones. They don't want this to be the norm, even though it has been for much of the season. So I do wonder if some of it, guys, is as simple as he lost the fishbowl last night. Saw him at the morning skate for the first time since the facial injury against Pittsburgh back in January, that he didn't have full facial protection. And I know he's not that far from college where that was required, but you talk to any of these guys that do this for a living, just even a little bit of change and sort of that distraction of having the face enclosed, there's a freedom that comes with getting back to the visor. I don't know if that played into it. Didn't get a chance. I wasn't there post game, but he seemed to be playing with a freedom that he hadn't had in previous games. And so with 18 to go, he's going to be one of the guys certainly in the spotlight. And you just want to see more nights where he feels confident taking the puck and making some things happen and challenging the other team and the zone entries and setting up and helping the Canucks get to the attack. Ultimately, it didn't yield offense last night, but you're right. On a night when so many other guys weren't going, I thought Zeev Buium had one of his better games in a while.
Jeff, we were talking yesterday. Does he have to run their power play? Should that be taken off Philip Hronek's plate?
I certainly have time for that discussion. And again, if everything's being done now and viewed through a lens of what's to come in the future, then yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you want to get him some reps? I know they went back to Tom Verlander at one point on one of the power plays last night, but it does feel like, again, the power play scuffling along. This is most of the season's been garbage time, as it turns out, but these final 18, it's not about wins and losses. It really is about individual player development. So that seems like an area that, yeah, I think that absolutely they should be looking at giving. And I know it's not about giving anything to these guys, that it should be earned, but why wouldn't you want to see what Zeev Buium can do with, theoretically, the other best players on this team? And if it's not going with Filip Hronek, then that to me seems like even more of a case to get Zeev in there and let him operate with the top unit.
We've been wondering what to do with Evander Kane, Jeff. He's 9 away from 1,000 games. I think it's fair to say he is going to play his 1,000th game, barring injury, with the Vancouver Canucks. But in terms of his utilization going forward, knowing he's not going to be a Canuck in 26, 27, how do you think and what do you think they should do in terms of handling Evander the rest of the way?
Well, I think this injury, if that's what it is right now, complicates matters because we don't seem to know. Adam Foote wouldn't speak about it after the morning skate yesterday, which was curious when he wouldn't come right out and declare that Curtis Douglas was going to play, said that it depended on Kane and Besser and their availabilities. And then we get to the game and Evander Kane's not on the ice for warm-up, doesn't play. And afterward, we find out, oh, he's been playing through something here for a while. Like, I don't know why Adam Foote couldn't have revealed that in the morning to provide a little bit of clarity, but it becomes a numbers game now. I mean, there are 18 games to go, and Evander Kane has to play half of them. If he's not 100% and not able to play some of them, I mean, then the window starts to get a little narrower here. I still maintain 1,000 games is an incredible milestone. And whether you're a fan of Evander Kane, whether you think he shouldn't play, I think the Canucks should do right by him. I don't know if they absolutely owe it to him, but 1,000 games is a commendable achievement. And I know he hasn't played a lot of his 1,000 games, 991, as a member of the Vancouver Canucks, but these are his employers now. They have an opportunity. And I think get him to 1,000. Whether he gets to 1,001, I think that's open for debate. But I think they've got to make sure that he gets the 9 games that he needs if he's healthy and available to them. Doesn't have to play a lot, and we saw in the games over the weekend, guys, and maybe it was some of this that he's dealing with a nagging issue, but he was down in the 12 and 13 minutes of ice time for a guy that was up way closer to 20 earlier in the season, so we're seeing that they are pulling back the opportunities, and I think that's a step in the right direction as well. Again, he's not going to be here next year. This is not about evaluating what you've got in a veteran player. It's far more about finding opportunities for Curtis Douglas and some of the other guys, whether it's Atu Ratu or Max Sasson seems to have cemented his spot in the lineup again now on the wing, which I think is a proper development for him and for the hockey club. But for Evander, yeah, I would say find a way to get him those 9 games, have a ceremony somewhere along the line. But beyond that, you're not beholden to making sure that he's an every night player the rest of the way.
Yeah, I heard you say last week you got time for Douglas. He plays under 7 minutes. Does anybody think they have a piece here going forward?
No.
Jeff, do you see a
Well, I mean, I'm not going to write the Curtis Douglas book based on one appearance as a Canuck. I need to see a little bit more. Whether we do, I mean, Blake pointed out when they claimed him, he never played more than 10 minutes in a hockey game. So the evaluation part is going to be difficult. The size is undeniable. We know that he's got an element of toughness to him. But we also know that so few teams employ super heavyweights anymore, that the idea that he's going to find a dance partner on most of the opponents that they play the rest of the way, I think is somewhat misguided. So he's without a contract after this. He's a Group 6 pending unrestricted free agent. I think he has to look at these final 18 games as more of an audition to prove that he can be a player in the National Hockey League, whether it's here in Vancouver or if he's auditioning elsewhere. And don't worry so much. I mean, I'm sure somewhere along the line he'll get into a couple of scraps because that's part of what he does. But it's far more important to find out, can he get in on the forecheck to deliver a hit? It's fine to say at 6'9", oh, he's got to be physical. Well, he's got to get there, first of all. And, at 6'8", Tyler Myers, even at his age at 36, still a beautiful skater. And so it can be done with a long-limbed, big-bodied player. But I haven't seen enough of this player, certainly with the one game last night. And, that brings his body of work to 40 National Hockey League games. So, no, jury is still out very much. Can the Canucks use a player that profiles with a lot of the things he does? 100%. Is he that guy? I'm not sure I can sit here and definitively say that, yes, he is.
Did you see that back check on the 2-on-1? That was a guy that was trying to show well here in his first game, but he was never getting back there.
Put me in,
He
coach.
was never getting back there.
Well, and I think, guys, if the game had any heft whatsoever, 1-0 going to the third period, he's probably not seeing a shift in the final period. Yeah. As it turns out, he got 3 or 4, but it doesn't even get to 7 minutes of ice time last night.
Lastly, from me, Jeff, we discussed the coach's future on Friday. We were asking yesterday on our poll question about Rutherford and Alvin. What do you think? Can they sell this management group going forward? Do you think fans would trust them to do the rebuild? Do you see any potential for change in the upper reaches of the Canucks hockey operations department?
They're 32nd by 11 points. Like, there's nowhere to hide. This has been an absolute unmitigated disaster. And again, the context matters that they started down this path back in September trying to be competitive. And this is where they've arrived. And we're not even 2 years removed from the 2 playoff rounds. So it has been, the fall has been fast. It's been furious, and the fans should be furious as well. So, we never hear from ownership anymore. And to try to get inside ownership's head and have an understanding of how they feel, it's been difficult this year. So in that sense, to me, kind of all bets are off, but we know that ownership could be a bit of a wild card here. I think as long as Jim Rutherford's on the job, Patrick Alvin probably has a little bit of security, but I do think some heads are going to roll. I just don't know how deep and widespread they're going to be. I fully expect that this coaching staff is going to be one and done. But in saying that, we also know that this ownership doesn't like to pay guys not to coach here and also double up to pay the replacements. So I think you have to factor that in as well. I'm not trying to evade the question. I don't know, but I don't know at the same time how you could possibly come back and try and sell this entire group to a fan base that's angry. But this management group has started the deconstruction, and I guess the question is, will they be around to be the guys that oversee the reconstruction of this roster?
Yeah, it would be quite a career arc here if they see the sunnier days, the other side of this rainbow. Great stuff, Jeff. We appreciate this. We will catch up later in the week. You're going to want to listen to RinkWide after every Canucks game, whereas Jake and Irf and a cast of friends break it on down. Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you.
So Garrison Price from the historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers. We are so happy to start talking to you once again about the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. This has got 72 kilometers of battery range alone. All you do is plug it in, not any special plug. You don't need to spend thousands on an installation. You plug it into your house, just a normal plug. 72 kilometers of range when you wake up in the morning. So easy. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer right now during Red Tag Days on from March through May. Again, shoptoyota.ca.
Our next guest is the new IT player with Vancouver Whitecaps FC. He is starting at attacking midfield in the Thomas Müller spot. He is starting on the wing, and he is contributing to this undefeated Whitecaps side. 4 wins, 1 draw in 5 matches. They've got Seattle Thursday at BC Place, 7 p.m. in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, round 2. It is our pleasure to welcome back to the program Surrey's Jeevan Badwal, who turns 20 tomorrow. Happy birthday.
So old.
Yeah, I'm getting there, man. Oh.
You've experienced a lot in your early years. I mean, where do you come off being so damn confident and looking so good out there? What clicked in the offseason? Did something? I mean,
it's the big question here.
You were good last year. This is next level here. What happened?
No, I think one of the biggest things was me getting invited to the Canada camp actually in January. You know, that was the big thing before going into preseason, and you know, experiencing that, and then having a coach like Jesse, who, you know, is a very good coach and doing well with the national team. But you know, he clicked in my brain that if I can have confidence playing with the national team, why can't I do that with the Whitecaps? You know, and going into preseason, that was my big thing. And you know, coming off a strong year, my first year last year, I think Jesper had installed in my brain too, is that if I can play with confidence and have that momentum of playing like an older player, an experienced player, I could change my level of playing. So I think, you know, two big coaches telling me the same thing, it's just clicked in my brain that I can do it.
Well, it's funny, Jeevan, because you guys play that first game down in Costa Rica, and I noticed that you're starting at attacking midfield. And so I texted this fella. I'm like, Jeevan's in attacking midfield in the Müller spot. And then we had Jesper on a couple of days later, the day after or so. And I said, Jesper, I got to ask you about starting Jeevan in the Müller spot. You know, tell me what the plan is for Müller and why you decided to go Bodwall in that spot. And he said, first, Jeevan, he had an amazing preseason with us. And Blake and I have been doing this a long time, Jeevan. You know, oftentimes coaches can be a little hesitant to go full praise with a young player because they kind of want to keep that carrot dangling. But he was effusive in what he had to say about you and your preseason. What's it like to just have the total confidence of the coach here so early on in your career, so early on in this season?
It's definitely amazing. You know, having a coach who can obviously, you know, give me an experience, give me confidence, and, you know, giving someone me like a chance is just an amazing, you know, opportunity for me to shine and just do my thing. You know, not a lot of young players can get a chance with many great teams, many great coaches, but if he's giving me the chance, you know, coming off a good preseason, as you said, and giving me the confidence to play, I think it's just my role to do the job and do really well.
People might
not a good preseason, an amazing preseason.
Yes. Don't sell yourself short.
What did you think when you saw your name up there in the board at attacking midfield in the Müller spot?
It was different, but I think it was, you know, we were in Houston before training, and I think all of preseason I was obviously playing in the 6 role. I didn't even touch the 10 role a lot, but in Houston, he talked to me and put me in the 10 role in 2 training sessions before the game. And I was like, okay, maybe there's a chance I might be coming on, or, you know, maybe there was a chance of me starting. But right when I saw myself starting in the 10, I was like, all right, it's obviously a big deal. It's a big game. But I was a little shocked because all my life I've never actually played in the 10 role, so it was a big deal. But it was nice.
Yeah,
say the least.
It's one thing to get the coach's praise, but you're getting it from your teammates as well. And I wonder when you're in training on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or whatever, like who are you looking at? Is it Thomas and all of his experience, or is it a guy who's a little closer to your age and has just kind of done the development that you've done in Seb, or is it both?
I would say it's both, because, you know, obviously Thomas is one of the best players in the game, and coming, obviously, like just watching him, obviously playing in the 10 too, I had to get some experience from him. But also coming from Seb, who's been in my shoes, who's come through development like me, you know, and he's doing so well again and had an amazing season last year. It's just looking at both and taking off from them and just learning from both. And it's amazing having 2 players that actually, you know, educate me within the game and actually help me develop my game. So it's nice having both there.
Well, we talked to Tristan Blackman last week. He sounded like a proud uncle talking about you as well. I mean, it just seems like you have a great support network there, Jeevan, and a lot of people who are on your side and pushing your case forward.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. It's the whole team. Like we're such a good team, and you know, being one of the young guys on the team and having the rest of the guys who have been in the game for so long, who have so much experience, you know, they help me a lot, and they mature me as a player, and it's one of the best things about this team.
The culture question is an interesting one. We've talked about culture on a couple of fronts. Blue Jays had an amazing culture last year, go all the way to the World Series. Canucks have struggled in the last couple of years, obviously, with that sort of thing, and I know you know that. Well, what's the culture like there? We saw it flourish last year. Were you able to carry that into this year as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. We're having a strong start to the season, and even in preseason with some of the new faces and everything, it's just like we just click together. Like even with the new guys coming in, there's so much camaraderie just within the team, and it's just really nice. And like everyone gets along with each other, even if you don't speak English. We still get along with each other. We'll find ways. But no, the team is very close, very tight, and that's one of the biggest things I think is that our chemistry is just amazing on and off the field.
Your rise sort of began last year with that first MLS goal against the Seattle Sounders at home at BC Place. We had you on after that. You talked about all the friends and family who were there in the stadium able to support you and watch it, and what a moment it was for you. How much have you thought about that goal heading up to Thursday's match against the Sounders?
No, I've obviously been thinking about it. It's, this is another big game against a very good team. Obviously, for me, it was like last year, that goal meant a lot. But now coming into this season, it's just about, obviously winning a lot, but also for me to play and have some confidence. But now this Thursday, I'm excited. I'm excited for the team. I'm excited for the game. I know my family, a lot of them will be out there. And it's going to be really nice.
You mentioned the confidence gain from Jesse Marsh and taking part in that Canada camp. We're starting to hear your name more and more as a potential Canadian player for World Cup. Jeevan, how does that strike you, especially with the couple of games here at home at BC Place in a World Cup?
I don't know. It's obviously hearing my name out there is really nice, especially that someone that's from Surrey, someone from Vancouver, and being young. But it just means a lot if my name's getting thrown out there, But obviously, I don't want to look too much into it. Like, it's still really far. There's a lot of good players out there, and it's just me trying to still perform well, do my thing, and just keep on working hard, And it'd be nice, but it's still a long way away.
Do you have you been keeping track of Ali at Norwich City and his exploits? And that's an option for you in your career being so young.
Yeah, no, I try to keep up with Ali's games. Obviously, he's doing really well. I know he got a couple of goals, a couple of assists. I saw recently they just got, I think, kicked out of the FA Cup, I think.
FA, yeah.
Yeah, FA Cup. But no, I see he's doing really well, which is amazing, seeing someone from Vancouver go to Europe and do really well. So it's nice.
Do you have those dreams? Have you allowed yourself to go down that road, or are you trying to stay present here?
No, definitely. I wanna take that road. Obviously, still being young, but it's a really hard challenge. But there's a way to get there. There's always a way to get there.
Well, we wish you all the success possible, although we are enjoying watching you play for your hometown team right now, Jeevan. We mentioned 20th birthday tomorrow, but of course it's the night before the game. So it's the celebration tonight. What are the birthday plans?
I'm not a big birthday guy. It's kind of crazy. Yeah. I just like to chill at home and just, my parents might get a cake, like just with me and the family. But I just like to chill at home and just do the normal activity I do always every week. Well,
rest up for Thursday. They'll need you. We're looking forward to this against the Sounders, the Cascadia rival, 7 p.m., BC Place, CONCACAF Champions Cup Round 2. Congratulations on the early success. Keep it up. And look forward to watching your progress.
Thanks,
Jeevan, thanks for the time.
Thank you so much, guys.
Carson Price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. Big game downtown. Make Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center your home base for game night and beyond. Walk to the action. Sleep like a champ. Plan your stay at wallcenter.com. Just following up on Jeevan there. Looks like it's going to be another year of accolades for Vancouver Whitecaps players. Coming out of match days, come All-Star game, and maybe end of season 2, while Brian White, Tristan Blackman, Sebastian Berhalter, and Jesper Sorensen all get named to the MLS Best of the Match Day.
When you win 4-1 on the road, you get noticed.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's 4 individuals, none of them named Thomas Müller.
Right. And LAFC won, and did Miami win? I can't remember if Miami's 2-1, but the point is, like, not every team is getting 4 representatives on the team of the match day, even when they're winning.
They were that good.
Yeah.
Again. Mm-hmm. NFL offseason in full swing. First, the Seahawks NFL offseason in full swing. The Seahawks said goodbye to 3 players. They welcome back a couple of players. First, the returnees. Receiver Rashid Shaheed, a 3-year, $51 million deal, $34.7 guaranteed. Of course, they had draft capital expended in this player, having acquired him at the trade deadline from the New Orleans Saints. He also said from the moment he got to Seattle that he wanted to stay there. I see Brock Heward, the Seahawks analyst, down on radio in Seattle talking about, when you've seen the other side of the NFL, like a losing outfit like New Orleans, and you get traded to a Super Bowl team, then maybe it's not worth going and getting every single dollar in free agency, particularly if it's to go back to a losing outfit. So,
and one would guess in the next 3 years of that contract, I mean, they're winning more than they're losing. I don't know by how much, but you have a winning record. So.
I think so. And look, he gives Sam Darnold a deep threat, right? He's one of the best field stretchers in the National Football League. He's also a great gadget guy. Get him the ball in unique ways. And you take a look at the receiving group now, Blake, because they brought back Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith and Jigba, who might be the best in the league, or certainly tracking towards that. Torrey Horton, who showed some real promise before he got hurt last year, minus the stud tailback, and with a dangerous collection of wide receivers, Hawks may want to or have to throw the ball more next season.
We'll
see what they do at the running back position.
I'm
not sure that's the best way for Sam Darnold. But I was talking about this with Farhan yesterday, but you do need to surround him with weapons. And they have weapons in the passing game. I would feel a lot better if they had a running back I could count on a little more.
I haven't seen even hints, Matt, as to what they're doing at tailback. Like, have you read anything about guys like that, like actual insider info?
I saw some Seahawks friends yesterday who we mentioned Tyson Algier from Atlanta. He got like nothing. It was like a 2-year, I think it's $6 million per year.
Yeah.
And they weren't in on that?
Yeah.
I've seen a number of the other running backs go, and they don't seem to be in on those guys either. So, no. Josh Jobe, the corner, is coming back as well. 3-year deal, $24 million. Now, that likely means Rick Woolen is headed to greener pastures in free agency, but we sort of knew that anyways. Fine player, but, man, his head wasn't screwed on straight at all times last year. Took bad penalties. Didn't understand situational football. Seemed to be a bit of a problem for them. They overcame. Of course, we know they lost Kenneth Walker, the stud tailback, the Super Bowl MVP, yesterday to Kansas City. They later in the day lost edge rusher Boye Mafa to Cincinnati, $60 million for him. And safety Kobe Bryant, who signed with Chicago for $40. Both got paid, but that's the way things work when you win a Super Bowl, right? People get really good looks at your players and go, wow, there's a reason they won, and this guy did his part, and this guy did his part. Quarterback carousel Tua Tagovailoa is joining the Atlanta Falcons, where another left-handed, oft-injured quarterback resides. That's Michael Penix, ex of UW. He will miss the start of the season with injury, so Tua expected to get some opportunity there in September at least. Trade market where safety Minkah Fitzpatrick goes from Miami to the Jets for a 7th-rounder, and wide receiver Michael Pittman dealt from Indianapolis to Pittsburgh for a pick swap. At the moment we're recording this, no signing yet from Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati defensive end, who many believe is the best free agent out there. So we'll see where
it's been a pretty good off-season of moves, I would think, for the NFL.
Yeah, it's been fun. There's been some trades. And
the quarterback deletions have been interesting. And
it was a pretty decent class of free agents as well, Blake. I mean, not all these guys are household names, but Tyler Linderbaum is a fantastic player, very important player, center. Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd both signing in Carolina. They really bolster their defense. Mike Evans, the receiver, goes to San Francisco after all those years in Tampa Bay. So, no, it's Raiders have loaded up here, signing a bunch of players. So, no, there were some quality free agents. Still are some quality free agents. NFL free agency doesn't really disappoint anymore.
No, there's some movement there.
Yeah. Canada's 1-1 at the World Baseball Classic. They beat Colombia on Saturday. They lost a heartbreaker Sunday to Panama. Big Maple. Ladner's James Paxton was had in the later innings. Paxton coming out of retirement to pitch in this event. He
they shouldn't have
surrendered
lost
the
that
go-ahead runs as the Canadians blew a 3-0 lead against the Panamanians, who really celebrated. Boy, that was a big win.
That was probably going to be their only win, too. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to hand a bad team their only win.
Canada plays Canada plays the host Puerto Ricans today. They're in the Puerto Rico pool. And they play Cuba tomorrow. If they win both games, they actually win their group. If they just beat Cuba tomorrow, they do advance to the final 8 of the World Baseball Classic for the first time ever. So this is infinitely doable here. Jordan Balazovic, a former Twins prospect, now pitching in China. He'll start for Canada today. Texas Ranger Cal Quantrill, of course, the son of former Blue Jay Paul, starts tomorrow. And then there's a very weird story coming out of the World Baseball Classic involving a couple of Seattle Mariners, and star Seattle Mariners at that. Randy Arozarena, in a Spanish-language interview, had a lot of awful things to say about Cal Raleigh. He mentions that he saw Raleigh's parents at the hotel, that they gave him a big hug, and he said, how do I think I should respond to Cal Raleigh? How should I put it? I want to say it in 4 languages. First in Spanish, the only thing you should be thankful for is having such great parents. He's very well educated, thank God. I was lucky enough to see them a few days ago at the hotel. They came over to greet me, gave me a big hug, and were generally proud to see me again. After that, I want to give it to him straight Cuban style. What he has to do is fuck off. Mexican style, go to hell. And in English, that fake-ass good to see you he hit me with, he can shove it straight up his ass. I'm out.
So this all stems from Arozarena heading to the plate for his first at-bat of the game, and he reaches out with his right hand to shake Cal Raleigh, who's tending to business behind the plate as catcher.
For the U.S., of course.
He reaches out his hand to shake his hand. There's a couple of words exchanged. Arozarena then leans in right into the mask of Raleigh and then stands up and proceeds to take his at-bat, and with a little bit of a shake of the head, like he is very stunned that the teammate can't put aside the rivalry of the game to just give him a high. And
it's not like the USA-Mexico baseball rivalry is teeming with hate or anything.
All those years. I think he could give him a high five.
Are they?
It's not the
Are
final
they
game.
having fun with us, Blake? Like,
It's
is
possible.
this totally a ruse?
It's totally possible, and we have been victims to this before, where they get a bit of a rise.
They get a big kick out of it. Yeah.
I mean, it's totally possible, but it looks legit. If it is, they are really good actors.
Now, they wouldn't be the first baseball teammates to hate each other, and you don't quite need the on-field chemistry in that sport like you do in, say, football or hockey. But we also saw last year what a caring for your teammate, a family environment can do. And
What a good clubhouse looks like.
Like the Blue Jays, yeah. If I'm DePoto of the Mariners, I would be looking into this a little more.
Yeah, the mediators and the clinical counselors will be at the airport to greet both of you. Yes.
Because I think they're going to hit back-to-back in that M's lineup. Like, those are kind of your 2 most important hitters. Anyways, bizarre. For the first time ever, 4 Canadians made it into the 3rd round at Indian Wells, the would-be 5th Grand Slam on the tennis calendar. I was thinking about this the other day. Just call it a Grand Slam. You've got all the best players. It's a very long tournament. It's in a nice spot down there in the California desert. Just call it a Grand Slam. There's no rule that you can only have 4 Grand Slams. The LPGA Tour has 5 majors, quote unquote. Just call it a Grand Slam. Market it.
The only thing that would come close is the Canadian Open, because they play reasonably close together during the same.
The Canadian Open isn't the length of this. It's not the field. It's not the.
No.
Anyways, so it's a really big tennis tournament that they just don't call a Grand Slam. 2 of those 4 Canadians remain. Number 10 seed Victoria Mboko takes on number 6 Amanda Anisimova tonight. Felix Auger-Aliassime got past fellow Canadian Gabriel Diallo And Denis Shapovalov lost to number 2 Yannick Sinner. It's Felix versus number 30 Arthur Fee of France today.
I think he's already beaten Monfils at this tournament.
You line up your fees, France,
Yeah.
and Felix is going to knock them down like toy soldiers.
What are the chances, though? He's going to play Monfils and then Fee.
Results of the poll question from Monday. We asked you, now that trade deadline is ever over, who needs to go? The options here were Rutherford, Alvin, Foote, or all of the above. And the winner is?
All of the above.
Correct percentage?
76.
72. 12% voted just Foote in isolation. 9% voted just Alvin in isolation. 8% voted just Rutherford in isolation. Jen, if anyone, Alvin needs to get fired, so JR will stay and be given one more chance. They need an experienced GM. Yeah, people continue to distinguish from them as though Alvin is making the decisions. It is Rutherford making the decisions. Adam, Patrick needs to go first. Foote can stay through the end of the season. If Jim doesn't see the issues in Patrick, then he can go too. I think that's fair. Daniel, I say Foote. I think the management team has done a fine job, maybe not incredible, but let's not discount this is the first time ownership has accepted a rebuild. To me, that speaks to Rutherford's success as a president. Uncharted, needed territory. Yeah, well, good points, Daniel. And Kenny says full reset. Canucks need to change from top down. Enough is enough now. Culture imploded with this lot leading. Imagine running it back and blowing it up with our inbound and existing players. It's got that potential all over again. I did not get an error or an omission from yesterday's program, Blake. So you may have had the perfect show, and I don't believe we had one lingering from Friday. So there you have it, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time weekdays. And, of course, support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Keep it local.